Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Patrick Precourt here, welcoming you to another Monday Mindset call. Welcome one, welcome all. Give me one more second here to get our recording going. Excellent. And again, welcome. This week's training study versus training. And I'm going to kind of separate one of the challenges that we have and maybe save us a whole bunch of time and also allow us to move forward at a much quicker pace. Like, how cool is that? You're going to define the difference here today and point out some clarity in kind of our daily practice that I think you guys will embrace fully. So, welcome you guys to the call. Love to hear you check in. Let me know where you're at and you know what state you're checking in from. Let me know you're here. And, of course, any comments, questions you have along the way, please feel free to share them as well. It's what makes these calls that much better. So, here we go. Study versus training. Now, at first they may sound like the same thing, right? But there's truly a difference. You know, study to me is what we do. Well, when you get on these calls, for instance, that's a form of study. Study is reading a book. Studying is sitting in a class and listening to a professor preach to you. But that's not true learning. Studying is sitting in an audience at a live event. Well, there's a speaker up there and him spilling a whole bunch of information to you. That, to me, does not lead to any true education. And I think you guys know that, right? I mean, after all, think about how many books you've read, how many seminars you sat through, how many live presentations, webinars, ebooks, all of that stuff collectively, and how much of it do you actually practice and put into place in everyday life, or how much you even retain of it. It's not education, let's be honest. So the question is, why do we continue wasting our time in study if we don't transform it into something we can actually use? And that's really the core of today's discussion. That's really what we're going to get to here. Okay? So, and Gunther says, isn't this the same discussion from last week? No, this is just taking it to another spot, Gunther, and what we do. I'm like clicking through each thing. Hold on. There we go. Sorry about that. So education is a process of being educated, the receiving or giving of systematic instruction. But that, by definition, is education. But that, to me, is not a true education. Okay? Knowledge, information obtained through the learning process, and basic skills. For me, for it to be education, we actually have to train it. We talked a little bit about this last week, so I'm taking it kind of to another spot here. There's a difference between study and training and actually transferring it to a form of education that we can use. And in comes implementation. So I'll bring this up at least once a month until we've established habits that we actually implement what we've learned. You say, well, Pat, why do you got to keep bringing this same topic up? And the reason is very simple. Because it takes us a while to actually embrace the power and authority of this discussion. I would suggest that if you trained a couple hours a week, information that you spend studying, that would be all you'd have to do to get into a massive growing methodology. We don't need hours and hours and hours of study and training to grow and expand. The challenge is when we read a book, we generally don't highlight the book, take notes out of the book, write out specific learning lessons that we create in a separate little journal, and at the end have very specialized notes and action plans on how we're going to put to work what it is we just read. That's what I mean by actually studying it. So implementation is the action that must follow any preliminary thinking in order for something to actually happen. And I think I used this example with you where, in martial arts, the study would be a coach showing you how to do an exercise. The implementation or the training of it would be you doing it live against an opponent that's trying to make you fail doing it. That's effectively what an opponent does, right? They try to prevent you from succeeding. Is that not life in a nutshell? Not everything is stacked in our favor to achieve. Much of it's stacked against us. And we train our way through it to figure out exactly how to take the information and convert it into true education. So implementation starts with the following: clear objectives, tasks to execute. So the objectives would be more on the strategic side, the planning side. The tasks would be on the tactical side, exactly what you're going to do to execute and achieve the objectives. You'd have to have a time restraint to it. It's got to be calendared with a beginning and an end. And then you have to be able to check your progress, monitor results. So let's use this as an example so we can see the clarity here. We read a book on how to eat better, which we've all read stuff on how to be healthier, right? We've done the book. Now we got to write out some very clear objectives. Objective number 1, clean up my diet. And then we'd break down exactly what that means, because these have got to be clear. A lack of clarity, well, means that for the most part we have nothing to aim at. Objective number 1 would be to eat cleaner. We define that. Objective number 2 might be the net result of eating cleaner, something we could measure. Well, might be loss of weight, so body weight. We'd now have a measuring opportunity here too. Objective number 3 might be to reduce the amount of coffee that you take in each week, or something like that, measurable, and so forth and so on. Now we continue that on and write down the exact tasks required to produce the outcome, the results that you've noted, that you desire, as outlined in number 1, objectives. So the task might be, number 1, to get all the junk food out of my house. Number 2, to put good, proper food in its place. Number 3, to pre-make some meals because I'm so damn busy, I don't have the time to make good meals when I need to eat them. You follow me on this? It's pretty simple. We read a book. Now out of that book we created objectives to achieve. Now we've outlined the tasks to achieve the objectives. We've now given ourselves a performance time. When is this all going to begin? Well, I just finished the book. It's on Saturday. So we're going to begin this tomorrow. My clean eating starts on Monday. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. That makes sense. Because now we have a performance day. And that's the most important part of this, or one of the most important parts, because if we don't give it a time, then it just gets kicked off till sometime tomorrow. And we all know about tomorrow. Tomorrow is a magnification of today. It will give you the same results you have today, just bigger. So until you choose to change what you do today and the results you get today, then tomorrow will not change. And that's why putting off to tomorrow is such a joke. Let me just repeat that so we're clear. Tomorrow is a magnification of today. And if you want different results tomorrow, you've got to start producing different results today. And if you think you can wait till tomorrow, you'll have everything you have today just magnified. Interesting way to come to terms with that reality, eh? The next year, of course, is to chart results. Anything we chart gets better. Anything we track gets better. Anything we track and record gets better by many times over. It's magnified. Tracking it makes us conscious of what's going on. It gets us clear to it. You know, like I like to keep my water intake at about 1 gallon a day, which is not easy for me to do. I got to be very aware of it. Otherwise, I just don't drink that much water. Now, if I just rely on filling up a glass of water, getting a bottle of water every once in a while, and I don't see where I'm at and how much further I have to go, guess what? I don't drink that much water. But when I fill up a 1 gallon jug of water in the morning, guess what? I will every single time drink 1 gallon of water. That's how powerful tracking and charting is, recording results. So implementation, again, once you've studied, this is the training side of it. Outline your objectives. Write down the exact tasks required to achieve the objectives. Put on a mandatory start date, time, and track what's going on. Record the results that you're getting. Assume that all makes a lot of sense. Gunther says, better study versus doing. They're both required, Gunther, in this process. If you study it first and implement it second. They're both required. I suppose, and this is true now that I think about it, a lot of things we do in life, we skip over the studying and we study on the job, don't we? We just do it. And that becomes our laboratory. Nothing wrong with that. So some key takeaways that help us through this process. Be crystal clear on your purpose, your why behind your objectives. Okay? What I mean by that is that we will be met with resistance every single time we set out to do something different or new. And that's fine. Just like my opponent in martial arts job is to cause me to fail in the execution of my training, my exercises, we'll be met with resistance. And we need something bigger than just an objective at times to pull us through. We have to know that there's something grander that we can attach to, and that is our purpose, our why. Why is it that you really want to eat healthier? Well, it's I want to lose weight, Pat. Okay, good, but why? Why do you want to lose weight? Well, quite honestly, I feel pretty crappy about myself right now, and I will feel like $1 million. When I look in the mirror, it'll restore my confidence, not break my confidence. When I go out at night and go to network with people, I'll be stronger, more complete person. This would be your why. And when you are challenged along the way, because now it's late at night and you haven't made a good meal and you know you have to eat healthy, yet there's some junk food right in front of you, going back to your objective, eating healthier just has no emotion. It has no purpose, no pull to it. However, reminding yourself of how much better you will feel when you eat healthier, and also what it will feel like 6 months from now when you look in the mirror and nothing's changed. If you don't make a change, when you get the push of pain and the pull of pleasure going, which your why allow for, guess what? It pulls you through these challenging moments when our willpower is depleted and we need something bigger or deeper to drive us. That's why it's so important to be crystal clear on our why. Every day should end with an action. That's, it doesn't have to be a big action, but it's got to be a step towards achieving our objectives. And what that does is that it instills a level of momentum to push us into tomorrow. It means we wake up tomorrow knowing that we're on a roll. We're achieving. We're moving in the right direction. It's a powerful little, almost like a hack. to win this day-to-day battle. And every day in the morning we should review and assess where we are with achieving our outcomes. This is where we have an honest conversation with ourselves about where we are. Are we even? Are we ahead? Or are we behind? Doesn't matter what the answer is as long as we get to the truth and we create an action plan that works with that. If we're behind, let's step it up. Let's just get to the truth. We're behind. No excuse why. It doesn't matter why. Only it matters that we do something about it. If we're ahead of the game, if we're winning the game, awesome, powerful. Let's embrace that. Let's celebrate that. Celebrations are good. Celebrations are powerful. I don't think that we actually celebrate often enough, in my opinion. Okay? Celebration is a good way to show the world your gratitude towards what you have. So if we're ahead of our schedule, celebrate and then move forward. So every day should end with an action. Every day should start with an assessment. And all that we do, whether it be coaching, education, implementation, should always be attached to an anchor. And the anchor is something that's greater than you and I. It's outside of us. It's bigger than us. And the reason we have an anchor is because we are not always a big enough reason to do what we want to achieve. We, as in you and I, are not always a great enough drive, a big enough purpose to do what we want to achieve. And that's why we need to anchor to something that's grander than us. And make no mistake, you're unique. You're unlike anyone else. You have a specific DNA code that's yours and only yours. You're here for a specific purpose. You're part of something that is so much bigger than just you. And you're a significant part of it. So whether or not you know exactly what that is right now is not so important as it is a recognition that you are indeed a magnificent part of something much bigger than just you or I. And that's the anchor we got to be aware of. You know, at the end of the day, I think I've said this before, our job is to make as big a dent and as many dents as we possibly can on this earth while we're here. A dent is representative of a positive impact on an individual. Think about that. At the end of the day, being measured by how many people you have a positive impact on while you're here. That's our anchor. That's what's bigger than us. You say, well, Pat, what does this all have to do with real estate and making money? I'll tell you something right now. The more money that you make, the greater impact you can have. Money allows you to be bigger, to express your awesomeness on a much bigger stage. I can tell you that right now. Enjoy making money. It's fun. Closing celebration. I love it. Oh, again. How do you get lost here? Hold on. So, bottom line. We have to push forward every single day. Every single day, never miss a day. Slow, steady steps towards a forward, positive outcome. Can't lose. Education is important. Information is important. Studying is important. But doesn't in and of itself count as forward progress. You've got to train it. You've got to implement it. The education is just the basis. It's the beginning. It's like the education you get in college after 4 years and you go to graduate. They call it a commencement. It's a beginning, because it's just a bare minimum to get started. Only action, only implementation, only training will get results and provide an experience. And it's out of those experiences that a roadmap through life is created for us. No other way to get it. It can't be gifted to you, can't be borrowed, can't be studied. True education can only be acquired through experience. Experience, of course, is synonymous with training. Awesome. All righty. So if there's any comments or questions on this, and I'll let this one go for a few weeks now, okay? But I cannot be more adamant about the significance of implementation. You guys can study this stuff till you're blue in the face and it won't be worth the paper that you'd take a note on. It's the experience gained through training it on a regular basis. Ted just added a nice comment. Actually, education plus action equals wisdom. Absolutely. You can use wisdom synonymous with experience, Ted. The education, which is the information. So when I say education here at the last slide, that's a true education. And that's what I mean, the wisdom, true education. Education as is spoken of in general terms, to me is just information, right? That's a studying of it. Information plus action, or the education as others speak of it, plus action equals wisdom. I agree, absolutely. And that's why here I clarify that education, true education, not just information, but true education can only be gotten through an experience, through putting it in action and implementing what it is you were just delivered in the form of information. Awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much. You guys are awesome. I'll be back here live next week. If you need anything in between, you guys are always welcome to reach out to us. And till then, you guys have an amazingly powerful week. Gunther says experience, bad, good, bad, good. The bad is as important as the good. Do not underestimate the learning experiences of the challenges that we go through. They're at least as impactful and oftentimes more impactful than the victories. You guys are great. Have a fantastic week. Cheers.